G'day Zetters, how you doing? Adam here from Poseidon Racing with another what not to do video on Z-Run Racing. So yeah, normally a little bit of insight into my Z-Run journey, which will give you guys watching along out there hopefully a little bit of knowledge in what to do, but today's video is a little bit more about what not to do. And with that in mind, if I could go back and give myself one piece of advice, it would be to set myself a bit of a budget and then just spend about 20 or 30% of that budget on horses and use the other 70, 80% of the money in the budget to learn the game, play the game, run the horses, try and get some wins, figure out, where the boxes are, what's a good horse, what's not a good horse. But no, I went out, all excited, bought heaps of horses, did some breeding, and to be honest, a lot of them, are nothing more than glue factory destined. There's no talent there really. Well, that's not true. There is some talent in there, but they're not overly talented horses. I thought I could breed this and breed that and breed this, and I bred down the line about 4 or 5 times, and I just ended up with a really super ordinary horse when I was hoping for a bit of a freak, but that wasn't the case. Now I do have some really great horses in there from breeding as well, but when it comes to buying your first horse, what should we buy? And this is completely up to you. I mean, don't take my advice. Use my advice as a little bit of a gauge, I suppose, but completely up to yourself what you go and buy. You can go onto Z-Run. So go to z.run and you'll come to, let me switch over to the screen here. Here's the Z-Run homepage or the marketplace, and you can buy horses straight from the website here. These are Genesis horses that have been born, within the game, okay? If you like. So they're Genesis horses. They haven't been born from 2 other horses. They're the original bloodline horses. And these, I think, are going to become more important as the game matures. At the moment, there's a little bit of debate around that maybe the bred horses are running faster and winning more races than the Genesis, and that certainly seems to be the case. But if some of my theories are correct, these Genesis horses are going to be relatively important in another 3-6 months. So I won't go too deep into that just yet because I haven't tried that theory out, but let's see how that pans out. So I believe the Genesis horses are going to have great value long term, but maybe not all of them, Of course, there's thousands, I think there's 36 or 38,000 Genesis horses, original horses. Not all of them are going to be freaks and weapons and superstars. There's going to be a few ordinary ones in there, and I'm not sure how those race results are balanced out just yet within those. But in saying that, I'm sure every single Genesis horse is capable of winning the race as long as it's in the right distance, in the right box. It's absolutely capable of winning a race. So what should we buy? Should we buy a Genesis horse from the main page here? Or should we come here to OpenSea, and if we type in here Z-Run, here it is there, we can see there's 9,000 results, and if we click for sale, 888, that's a lucky number, isn't it? It's got to be. Must be my lucky day to win a few more races, but there's 888 results there, and you can see there's plenty of horses for sale here as well. Some of these are Genesis. You can come over here to, I'll just flick that out. You can come over here to, which one is it? Well, there's genotype, so you can choose the Z number. We'll talk about that in a moment. Gender, breed type. So yeah, here's your breed type. I won't go into this. You can read the articles on Medium. Genesis, though, are the original horses basically that came via the game. So they don't come from 2 other parents. They haven't been bred. They've been born into the game directly. Okay, so you can buy Genesis here as well, and you might find that you can buy Genesis horses that haven't had a run. If we click on here, let's click on Little Trader. Okay, you can see some info. There's some info there about the color and the gender and the Z number. All right. And then if you click on View on Z-Run, hopefully this link works, you'll see it's had 10 races, 2 wins, 1 second. It goes pretty good. That's a pretty fair result for only 10 races with 2 wins and the 1 second. So that's pretty good. You might want to grab that. But a Z7, if we come back over here, a Z7 is 105 US dollars. And what are they asking over here? 0.74 of an ETH, and an Ethereum is about 350. So you're looking at about 230 bucks or something, okay? So you're paying a little bit of a premium, but that's not always the case. You can find horses on here that are cheaper, that are Genesis, and are cheaper than what you can get the same Z number over here. Now, as far as the Z numbers are concerned, my understanding of Z numbers, okay, if you read the blogs and stuff, it suggests that the Z1s are closer to the original bloodline, but what does that mean exactly? Well, I think what that means exactly to me is the Z1s, you're going to have more slots. So there's about 8 different distances and 12 different boxes that you can run a race in. I think the Z1s on average will have more winning spots across that grid of races and boxes and distances than on average what, say, the Z10s do. Okay, but you're going to pay roughly 4 ETH for a Z1, nearly 2,000 Aussie dollars or 1,500 US dollars. And for a Z10, you're going to pay, as you can see on the screen here, $25. Okay, so you need to kind of balance that out. If your budget is only $200 or $300, then you want to probably buy one Z10, and allow yourself some budget to try and find those win zones with that Z10. If your budget's a little bit higher, maybe you can afford a Z1 or a range of different Z numbers, and then save some budget for obviously running and racing and finding those winning zones. I mean, that's what the game's about. When you get a Genesis horse, it doesn't have any race history often. Some of them on OpenSea have been run, like the one we saw before. But when you buy them from here, they haven't had a run yet. And many of the ones on OpenSea have not been run yet as well. So there is no clues as to what they're going to be good at. So you need to sort of start checking each distance, keep your eye on the odds, try different boxes, bounce them around, see what gets you a good result, and then slowly hone in on where you think those good zones are going to be. So hence why you really need to keep 70-80% of your budget for race, tuning in your horse for racing at the highest level. And that's probably more the case with the Z10s, because as I said, I don't know if this is the case. I'm only guessing that the Z1s might have more win boxes on average than what the lower Z numbers do. So it might take longer to find a win with a Z10 than it does potentially with a Z1. Okay, and then when it comes, I won't go too deep into breeding, but I'll just say, again, another thing that if I could go back and change, I wouldn't breed until I was about a month or two in and really understood what I was sort of doing and watching the other horses run and et cetera, because as I said, I think I mentioned it, I've wasted a lot of money on really breeding down the line, like breeding and then not testing, just breeding and then breeding and then breeding from the same horse. So going many generations down the generations. And from what I can tell, that's not always a good thing. In fact, more often than not, you're probably going to get an ordinary horse doing that than a really great champion. In saying that, some of the current great champions are absolutely from breeding, but you've got to remember that not every bred horse is an absolute freak, okay? Most of them are just going to be a bit average, and then if you take that bit average horse and breed it with, then you might get a horse that's a bit more rubbish, and if you breed it again without checking, you might get one that's a bit more rubbish. Okay, so for me, I think you need to, if it was me again, I would take my time with the breeding. Grab a horse. I would probably start with a Genesis, because at least you kind of know what you're getting. With some of these bred horses, unless they've been bred from horses that have a history and they're pretty good, if they're pretty good, then absolutely try your luck with one of those. But other than that, probably the safe bet is a Genesis or two. Keep in mind, I think the Genesis are going to maintain their value as the game matures down the line. I think they will. I've got a hunch that they will, because I think they're important to the game structure. Yeah. All right, I think that's about it. That was a bit of a long one, wasn't it? I hope that helps. I know it's all a bit wishy-washy because I really don't know what's going on. I'm just throwing, spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks at the moment. And some are sticking, but a lot of it's falling on the ground, and it's a great mess these last 2 weeks. But anyway, thanks again for watching along. Please hit the subscribe button if you love Zed as well as much as I do. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.